Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Dr. Bob Milligan. Welcome to the first Learning Edge Coaching Tip webcast. Today we will talk about how to handle the situation where an employee is not meeting expectations. And to do that, we need to talk about two things. One is what kind of feedback to provide, and secondly is how to best provide that feedback. To begin, we need to think about the fact that traditionally we think of two kinds of feedback, positive and negative. I want you to completely eliminate that thinking from your mind, because actually there are three kinds of feedback. Okay? And the third kind of feedback is what we call redirection feedback. The problem with two kinds of feedback is that we typically think of negative feedback as a reprimand. However, most of the time when employees do not perform, it's not because they didn't want to. It's because they didn't have all the resources they needed, that the expectation was too high, whatever the case may be. And in that situation, we need to choose redirection feedback. And as the name says, we redirect to success. The following diagram describes a little better what redirection feedback is and contrasts it with negative feedback. Redirection is when it really isn't the employee's problem. It wasn't something they did. It was something in the context and the situation. There was not enough training, not enough clarity. Something happened that was not expected. And so we need redirection feedback. So the question then is, what do we do? Well, one of the problems we have, and what makes this so difficult, is that when we bring up the issue of improving performance, employees tend to expect negative feedback, and they tend to get defensive. And so the most important thing to have a productive discussion is to reduce that defensiveness. And to do that, we're going to talk about three things. The first is to really emphasize at the beginning of this discussion that the purpose is not to focus on what went wrong. The focus is success. We are redirecting to success. Make sure the employee understands that. Okay. The second one is that we need to think about how do we keep the conversation informal, productive, and congenial. And we do that by staying calm and by being positive. Make sure that the discussion has a focus on success, a focus on a positive outcome. And the third one is to focus on future performance. When we talk about what happened, what went wrong, we put the employee in a very difficult situation because they can't change that. That's history. No matter how much they want to, they can't change their performance yesterday. But if we focus on, as quickly as possible, what they will do in the future, that is something they have control over. So it's very important to understand that when we're helping employees succeed, we need a lot of positive feedback, we need a lot of redirection feedback, and only rarely are we going to have to use a reprimand, a choice, a negative feedback.